Hey you guys, welcome back to Rocket City Yardstead. I need to do some things out here in the garden today, and I thought I would bring you out and show you some of the changes that have been happening. I'm really excited. If you were with me, I think it's probably been about a week and a half ago, I came out and I added some more fertilizer to a lot of plants that hadn't gotten any, and goodness, it has made all the difference in the world. So I wanted to show you guys that. I'm not thrilled about what it probably says about my new soil, but I'm happy to see the plants growing. So we're going to take a look at that. And then I also bought some cucumber plants. I don't know what's happening with my seedlings, that they have just shriveled up and died. I did read it could be dampening off just because we've had so much rain. That seems kind of unlikely to me, but I don't know. So I'm doing the next best thing, and I ran to the store and I bought some more established plants to put in their place. So hopefully we'll still get some cucumbers, but let's take a look at these plants. For starters, let's take a look here. My golden wax beans have germinated really well. So hopefully we're going to have those in not too long. But look at the luffas. They have changed color and they have grown tremendously since I got that trifecta on them. We've got brand new curly cues attaching on to our trellis. Here's some more of them. Here's some more of them. And just look at how big and beautiful these leaves are compared to what they had been. They were so yellow and small. And in this case, even the old leaves greened up quite a bit. So I am elated with how these are looking. I also thought I'd show you here behind me are tomatillos. This is where I had that one tomatillo that was very yellow compared to the others, and I thought maybe we had forgotten to fertilize it. So I added some fertilizer, and y'all, apart from the fact it's a bit smaller, still, you can tell it has just bounced back tremendously. The leaves are a nice rich green. Looking at it next to the plants next to it, it started putting on a lot more lush growth. It's putting growth on down low like our other plants had. We definitely forgot to fertilize that one. So, lesson learned. Apparently, it's going to take us some time to get this soil in good condition, and the fertilizer is absolutely a necessity. Do you guys remember I had showed you these basils? I planted them, it's probably been a month ago now, and they hadn't grown at all. And some of them have probably tripled in size since I put the fertilizer in. This guy right here, let's see, this one in particular was probably about this tall a week ago, and put that trifecta plus fertilizer on, and they've just grown a bunch. I do need to pick the flowers off that it's trying to set while it's so little. Look what I just spotted. This big tomatillo husk. It's the first one like that, but these plants are covered in blossoms. So hopefully we're going to have a really good tomatillo harvest this year. We love our salsa verde. I didn't really intend for this to be a garden tour, but I'm spotting all kinds of things I'm really excited about. Got that guy right there. That's a nice one. This plant has, I think, 3. It's not going to be long and we're going to be harvesting peppers. My goal this year is to be able to put up a lot of colorful peppers. So I have ones that should ripen to red and yellow. I can't remember if I think I have some orange ones as well. Since we're here, look at this one amaranth plant. It's the Chinese multicolor spinach amaranth. And these guys are starting to get bigger and grow really beautifully. This year is the first year that I am growing Dutch fork pumpkins. I saw about them on the Roots and Refuge channel, and then I saw Heather over at, what is the channel? Sage and Stone Homestead, growing them as well. And they both live in climates very similar to mine. I'm pretty sure they have sort of similar pests to me, And I have the hardest time with winter squash being able to get to full size and ripen before pests take them out. And so when I saw what good luck they had with them, I decided to grow them. And I cannot believe how fast these plants are growing. They're just getting so big. And I love these leaves. I know that there are plenty of squash that have these variegated leaves with the white spots along the veining, but I just think it's so pretty. I did put fertilizer on these too, and I think that's helping. Some of my green beans very clearly need fertilizer. I don't really know. Oh, I just had a thought. I was about to tell you guys that I don't really know what's going on with my green beans, and let me show them to you and then we'll discuss it. So look at these beans in this bed. They are quite a bit taller and a richer green. And then we get over to these beans in the next two beds, and they are shorter and more limey in color. I for sure need to put fertilizer on them, but it just occurred to me that that first bed, it was part soil from my strawberry beds, and then we topped it off with the new soil we got for filling everything. And these two beds here, they are just the new soil. So I'm wondering if that first bed, those beans, their roots have gotten down into the older soil that is richer, I guess, maybe than the new stuff. I'm really curious about that, because I think that that is probably what's going on here. One of my zinnias opened up. I am taking a little bit of a risk trying to plant cucumbers now. It's just very late for them where I live because cucumbers don't love the heat. But we really love our cucumbers. So I got this pack. It was $3. So if they don't survive, I'm not invested a whole lot of money. But it seems like that the climbing or vining cucumbers are not really available anymore. They only had bush varieties. I've actually never grown bush varieties of cucumbers, so I figured if we get cucumbers, that is obviously what we're going for, and it'd be good to try something new. It was supposed to be a 4-pack of cucumbers. One of the cells was empty, and I noticed that was true in every pack they had. They didn't have very many on offer, to be really honest with you. So I just decided that I would grab them because it was $3. So about $1 per plant, which is a decent price, I think. So we're just gonna get these planted and hope for the best. Have any of you ever had problems with cucumbers like I've been having? I just don't quite know what the deal is where they shrivel up like that. It happened last year too, and I was going to just go ahead and start my cucumbers inside this year, but I didn't get around to it. We were just so busy. But I think next year for sure, especially if we get the greenhouse all put together and set up and we have more room for starting plants, we will have to start cucumbers as starts. I know lots of people have trouble with various bugs eating on them. If what's happening to mine is a bug issue, then it's something subterranean, because the seedling itself looks okay until it just shrivels up and dies and is just laying there on the ground. But last year, I was able to go buy some plants. I think I was a bit earlier, and so they had more options for me, and I planted those with no problem. So whatever's happening, it's something that happens when they are just brand new little babies. And if they can get a little bit more established, they do better. Guys, I started doing something that I had not intended to do, and I'm not going to finish, but I want to show you. I started picking potatoes. You can see what these plants look like. They're all shriveled up and looking really bad. And so I thought, I'm just going to look. And look at this pile of little potatoes I got. If you weren't with me when I planted potatoes, we used really tiny potatoes to start our potatoes. What are they called? The Little Potato Company. We got them at Sam's Club, and they were all yellow potatoes is what they sell at Sam's Club. And I don't know how many left. I had enough to fill this area here with potatoes that had put on eyes. And so I thought, let's try it. And this is a nice little haul. This is off of 3 of the plants. So I'm going to take these in, and I think we're going to turn them into some breakfast. Once I got the potatoes all washed up, I thought that I should probably weigh them and get some idea of how many potatoes we actually were going to get from these plants. So this was 3 plants, and you can see here, I had a little trouble. My scale did not want to switch over to pounds, but we ended up with right around 2 pounds. So once I got the weight on them, I decided we would just cook them up like the package of Little Potato Company potatoes say. So they just have you roast them at 400 degrees with some oil and seasonings on them. I go relatively simply here. I just use salt, what else? Some smoked paprika, and then I have this seasoning from a company called Penzeys. I got it in like a discount box one time, and it's got things like green peppercorns and shallots, garlic. It's just really delicious, and I love to use it on potatoes. So those are kind of my go-to seasonings for them, and I just toss them with the seasonings and oil, and then we'll roast them in the oven for 30 minutes. I ran back outside to grab an onion to put in our scrambled eggs and some chives because I like both. And I found a yellow squash, so I'm very happy about that. When we got home from my niece's graduation, we were only gone for 3 days, but let me show you guys the squash we brought in. We've already eaten 2 pretty big yellow squash. They were starting to get quite seedy, but they still tasted good. But in addition to the 2 we already ate, we also found these. So our zucchini and yellow squash plants, they are giving us lots of food these days. We're not going to use yellow squash right now. I have some bacon cooking up, and then we're going to use that bacon grease to fry our eggs in. I say fry, we're going to do scrambled eggs. But I like to put onion and peppers in our scrambled eggs, so we'll saute those up, and then we'll add our eggs to them. We have several bags, actually, of diced sweet peppers from the garden last year that are in the freezer, and I've been trying to work my way through them because, as you know, we have a garden full of pepper plants. My hope this year is largely to do a lot of canning of my peppers. Last year I tried a recipe for the first time that I loved. It was, sorry, I don't know what that was on my hand. It was a marinated pepper recipe. It was actually on the box of one of my jars of ball canning jars that I bought one year. And it looked really good, and so I tried it. I didn't have enough for a full recipe, so I just made a couple of jars and didn't can them. I put them in the fridge, and we ate through them, but they are so delicious. And so that's the kind of thing I would love to have, just several jars in our pantry that we can open up through the course of the winter. Those sweet roasted peppers, they bring a little hint of summer, I feel like, even when it's really cold outside. But I'm going to get my breakfast all ready, and when our potatoes are done, we'll try them together. I thought I would show you guys. This is what I have traditionally been doing with my peppers. When they ripen, I just spend a lot of time chopping them up and putting them into freezer bags. They do have, at this point, quite a lot of ice in the bag. I do wonder if I'd be better off putting them into vacuum sealed bags, but they still cook up really nicely and they'll be delicious in our scrambled eggs. Our potatoes just came out of the oven, and I would like to check one of these bigger ones. That fork went in there nicely. The bottom's nice and roasted looking. So I think these are ready. Our eggs are scrambled, our potatoes are cooked, bacon's cooked. I love a breakfast like this, or I guess it's a brunch or a lunch. It's almost 11 o'clock in the morning. But the potatoes are from our garden. The peppers are from last year's garden. The onion and chives are from the garden as well. So we're doing a whole lot with the stuff coming out of our backyard, and it just makes me really happy. Let's give one of these potatoes a try. I'm really excited about eating my first homegrown potato. Mmm. It's really creamy. I've heard people say that before about like fresh potatoes that haven't been cured, but it does have just a nice, really creamy texture all on its own without butter or sour cream or something like that. So super exciting. Thanks for hanging out with me today, you guys, in the garden and as we cooked up our first ever homegrown potatoes. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.